Alrighty, so today is my birthday. I made one video earlier, a paper and pen project, just a little illustration project, where you can actually make the project along with me. I made the first part of the project, which is a character from my book, Stories from Scooter Town, and he's baked a pie. I love apple pie, and I promised myself today, if I completed certain tasks, I would reward myself with a single serving piece of pie from Walmart, because I love their apple pies. And as it turns out, a friend of mine up north actually makes them. Yeah, she works in the a facility that makes these little apple pies. So anyway, that will be my reward. But first I have to do this. First I have to complete all my tasks today. I showered, I got dressed, I cleaned a little bit, I made sure all my dishes were done, I have laundry ready to go. I walked Bugsy a couple of times, but I also took him for a ride on the scooter, because we need to get out of here. We need to feel lifted. We went out to a little area that we go to, a park, but it's not like a family park where people go picnicking. It's a place where people bicycle up and down a path that runs alongside it. And we've actually found a little trail that I've never found before, and I've never seen people on it. So I was really, really happy. I've checked off everything on my list but this. And I need to do something that makes me feel better, that is uplifting. And I was going to maybe go back to a landscape, but what I really enjoy is painting people. So I'm going back to my portrait of Christy. God knows there's enough to do on this one, and also on Bobby that accompanies that second part of this portrait, or this commission. So I'm going to work on this, and for a little bit on a studio mate in another state video. Welcome. I hope you're able to work in your studio. I just heard from one friend who was locked out of his studio. All of his supplies were locked in it, and I just heard from him he was allowed to go back in, get some of his supplies, do a little bit of work, because he's a teacher at a college, and he needs to get work prepped for his classes. So I was really, really happy to hear that. I have other projects I'm going to work on where it's like the Stories from Scooter Town illustrations, and we're using materials that we have. Instead of me wishing I had more, I'm going to work with what I have. If everything works out right, I'll get to those as well, those projects. But anyway, regardless, welcome to Studio Mate from another state. I hope you're doing well. Let's just paint. And you may hear I'm sharing studio with a wasp right now who keeps flying around my light fixture just above. Wish me luck, because I'm allergic. Yeah. Anyway, let's get some work done. It is very warm out in this garage today, by the way. It's been very warm all day long, so I'm a little sweaty. Again. By the way, I still am primarily working with oil and mineral spirits. Only in the mask have I started to use neo-McGilp again, or neo-McGilp at all. I have plenty I have plenty of it. I'm still just working on dry textures against wet textures. Playing with those ideas. Oop, I think I missed something up here. Oh, I know I did. Let me see. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. knows he does that when he thinks I've left without him. Or he thinks he's seen a squirrel when there's nothing out there. It's always hard to tell. He's going to be 15 in May, so it's anyone's guess what's running through his head. always barking at a passerby. I have paintings out on my patio. I've talked about it before. I'm doing something called social distance underscore art walks. Hashtag social distance underscore art walks. And so we have people that ride by in their cars, a lot of elderly people in the passenger seat, and they'll stop and they'll look. People on bicycles and people walking by. And right now somebody was walking by, so he was having a breakdown. do that all day long. And then all of a sudden he just has to let it fly. Too trite. I'll sometimes catch Bugsy in the bedroom, up on my bed, because it's where he spends a lot of day, is up on my bed kind of napping and waiting for something big to happen. But I'll catch him, I'll hear him barking in there, I'll go in, and he's standing up on my bed, kind of looking at the window, but not really, and barking like that. There's nothing going on outside, he's just barking. But at almost 15 years old, that's what you get to do, anything you want. I'm going to start to add some Neo to the reds and oranges. I'm not going to apply the Neo McGill everywhere, because I want that juxtaposition of shiny and flat, glossy and flat. But I've got to start committing myself to these oranges and reds. These have got to start getting richer. So just in case you're wondering what this teal, the blues, the reds, the oranges are about, I did a painting a while ago called The Birth of Ganesh. And the birth of Ganesh is all blues and reds and teals. And what it represents is actually Durga, his mother, who hopped out of her bathtub when Shiva, her husband, beheaded their son. And began the rebirth of their son as Ganesh, the elephant god in India. Now Bobby, who's the other half of this commissioned portrait, was a Buddhist, as I believe Christy is. And he waited his whole life, his whole adult life, to take one trip. Maybe a couple, but we'll just say one for now. It was his dream to go to India as a Buddhist. So what I'm trying to reflect here is the idea of the birth of Ganesh. Because sadly, was it India? Tibet. Oh, Bobby, you went to Tibet. Okay. And sadly, sorry about that, I do, but we know, I do that. My brain fries. Bobby went on his lifelong trip, his dream, and tripped, fell, hit his head, and died. But being a Buddhist, he wouldn't see it as an ending, a part of things and a rebirth, possible rebirth, I believe. We didn't know each other well, so I apologize. But that's what I'm trying to emulate here, is his rebirth. His ending, his beginning. He changed himself several times in life to become the person he wanted to be. And that should be recognized and honored. Just as Ganeshi was beheaded and died for a while, but was brought back to life as a new being. I'm fascinated by his mother, Durga, who was a warrior goddess made to fight evil. Fight evil, fight for the weak, protect them. She's a protector mother. And I have a feeling Christy and she share a lot in common. Christy, this lady. I don't know. It's a story I'm making up in my head. Back of my head, yeah, pretty much. By the way, I'm back to mineral spirits because I'm not doing the red and oranges. Persian blue. I think that's what I have, or something. Something blue. This little corner of the world is sad. It's not good at all. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll work itself out eventually. It's just right now it's a mess. An embarrassing, crappy, little amateurish mess. Snob, art snob. Snob, snob. Like Danny DeVito in, what is it? Philadelphia. What's the name of the show? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Danny DeVito level of snobbery. Ooh, that just got interesting. Garbage, garbage, derivative. All right, I'm very sweaty, and I imagine we've been at this for a little bit. Oh God, for almost 50 minutes. So I know you can't see what I'm seeing, but Danny DeVito snobbery going on here. Derivative, oh, amateurish. It'll improve. Yeah, you can't see it, so it's not going to matter. But I can see it, and it's driving me crazy. Anyway, that little corner of the world. We're going to stop now because I have checked off everything on my list to do today. So I need to go reward myself and get myself a single serving piece of apple pie from Walmart. Just one. If I buy two, I'll eat both of them, and we don't want that. But it's really important, I don't know how you are, but especially right now for me, to set my goals. Make sure I do every single one of them, no matter how I feel, and then to reward myself. And it isn't always with food. What I tend to do is, like, this was the crowning project for the day. Working on this, making the video a studio made, was to reward myself for doing certain things. Walking Bugsy was to reward myself for certain things. Really getting on the scooter and riding somewhere with Bugsy and walking was a reward for doing some things. Especially at times like this, it can be really easy to get lost, or to sit down and binge watch and just say, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. Before you know it, you haven't done anything and you feel really bad. So this is my solution, is set a list, go down it, and reward yourself every single time so that you keep going in forward motion. Several years ago, now we're going on 15 years ago, my heart was badly broken. And I really cried for a year, for a solid year. And I would, on my days off, I would sit at home and I couldn't get off my couch. And about 6 months into it, 4 to 6 months into it, I had to make the decision. I was getting up. I got up, I would get in my car, and I drove to one store. This is on Cape Cod, in Orleans. I drove to one store where I knew the owners and I knew people that worked there. And I could barely talk. And I said, I could barely look at them and I could barely talk. I was so deeply depressed, I was almost catatonic. And I said, this is what I'm doing. Oh my God, I'm so sweaty in my hair. I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to retrain my brain. I said it probably much simpler than I would now, but I explained what I was doing. And if I said hello to somebody that day, if I went in, looked them in the eye, said hello, maybe exchanged a couple more words, then I would reward myself. And it took a while, but I went from going to the Earth House in New Orleans and rewarding myself with sometimes just I love little green antique plates that are shaped like leaves. It's like doilies for me. There goes my cat yelling at me. I love them. So I went from that and buying little green plates and maybe some doilies there at Earth House to going to the Chocolate Sparrow, which I absolutely love. And I started going to the coffee counter. I would get a coconut mocha coffee. But that forced me to talk to somebody and to relate to them, to hear them, to answer them, and look them in the eye. From there, I could walk over to the candy counter and get handmade coconut chocolate. God, I hate that cat sometimes. Chocolate-covered coconut. And it was really, 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 really hard. It was impossible for me sometimes, but I did it. And that's where I taught myself to set a goal and reward. Set goal, reward. Set goal, reward. And it doesn't always have to be food. But today is my birthday, so it is going to be food. I'm going to go get a piece of apple pie. I may kill that cat first, however. No, if I kill the cat, then I can't have apple pie. I haven't earned it. Because killing the cat was not on the to-do list today. So, I'm going to go in, wash my hands, wash my face. We'll upload this in a little while, but I'm going to get apple pie. Anyway, thank you so much, Studio Mate in another state, and I'll see you later. Ciao!